People always tell you that life is short, but actually life is long. And if you're 24 years old or 34 years old, I mean, when I was 34 years old, I was still 21 years away from having a book published, even though I've been busting my ass for all that. So if I would say to a younger person, take some pressure off yourself. You know, you don't have to, it's all this bullshit in the social media that there's a hack and you can do it tomorrow. It's, you know, enjoy the trip, you know, pay attention, keep your eyes open on the journey. When it's ready to happen, it'll happen.
Well, 3 years ago, I was in New York City working for a quantitative hedge fund when I came across the startling statistic that web usage was growing at 2,300% a year. So I decided I would try and find a business plan that made sense in the context of that growth. And I picked books as the first best product to sell online, which are making a list of like 20 different products that you might be able to sell. And books were great as the first best because books are incredibly unusual in one respect, and that is that there are more items in the book category than there are items in any other category by far. Music is number 2. There are about 200,000 active music CDs at any given time. But in the book space, there are more than 3 million different books worldwide active and in print at any given time across all languages, more than 1.5 million in English alone. So when you have that many items, you can literally build a store online that couldn't exist any other way. And that's
how big do you think your product or your service is?
Well, it's impossible to tell. When we first launched, we were hoping for, you know, maybe 400, 500 people. Harvard didn't have a Facebook, so that's the gap that we were trying to fill. And now we're at 100,000 people, so who knows where we're going next. We're hoping to have many more universities by the fall, hopefully over 100 or 200. And from there, we're going to launch a bunch of side applications, which should keep people coming back to the site and maybe could make something cool.
What is the Facebook exactly?
It's an online directory that connects people through universities and colleges through their social networks there. You sign on, you make a profile about yourself by answering some questions, entering some information such as your concentration or major at school, contact information about phone numbers, instant messaging screen names, anything you want to tell, interests.
Let me give you a figure that'll blow your mind, I think. I bought my first stock when I was 11 years old. It was the first quarter of 1942, shortly after Pearl Harbor. I spent $114.75. Three shares, $114.75. If I put that 114 into the S&P 500 at that time and reinvested the dividends, think of a figure as to what it would be worth today.
Oh man!
Well, it's
okay.
You know, but I just want your audience to think for a second.
Okay.
The answer is about $400,000. So if I, as a little kid, had taken that $114 I'd saved shoveling snow or whatever I'd done, $400,000 today, one person's lifetime. That's America. I mean, that isn't me. You know, it is the huge tailwind the American economy gives to any equity.
And other people cannot control their emotions. And unless you can control your emotions, you're probably not going to do very well in the stock market. I happen to have a certain temperament that works pretty well, and that I don't get excited because other people get excited about things, and I don't get depressed because they get depressed. You have to be able to form an independent judgment and not let your emotions take control.
But I think it's very hard to practice.
It is hard for some people to practice. It's hard for many people to practice. But it's